What time is it?
Game time! Woo!
And welcome back here to On Deck with B. Charles Prodigy Richey here. Also host of the Ben Steel podcast, which you can check me out on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at MassSteelCGR and on Instagram at MassSteelNation right now. They're ready to transition to some NBA fast break right now, some basketball right now, keeping you here in Chicago right now. Chicago Bulls right now, don't look now, are in 10th place in the Eastern Conference right now, trying to make a big splash right now, make some noise under Billy Donovan's first year as Bulls head coach right now with the playoffs. I mean, you've seen this guy come in here in Chicago right now, definitely held a lot of high stairs, as you can imagine. I know with the Bulls organization, it's going to be a little bit interesting under Arturas Karnisovas right now. But thing is, too, this team has definitely been living, breathing playoffs for the last few years as far as expectations right now. Trying to make their first playoff run since 2017. And if you take a look at it right now, Chicago Bulls right now, who are trying to go for that 8th and final spot, which is held by the New York Knicks. Right now, as we take a look at 3 games out right now, the Bulls are set at 22 and 29 right now. And I really got to believe right now, I mean, if the Bulls are able to, make it into the playoffs, I mean, how much is a guy like Billy Donovan or, alone Tom Thibodeau right now? I mean, a guy who's been kind of bounced around lately in his coaching career. I mean, who hasn't been hardly anywhere nearly the same coach since he's been with the Bulls. Let's be honest right now, as far as legitimate success and constant playoff. But I think those two guys we definitely candidates for Coach of the Year, if you ask me, especially with the New York Knicks right now. I mean, outside of Chicago Bulls, NBA needs a team like the New York Knicks to be back in prominence, playoff contention. It's definitely been a long time for that franchise. The last time the New York Knicks, by the way, who have been in the playoffs, when we take a look at, has been 2013, where they lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals that year. And that year in the semifinals, who did they lose to in that round? They lost to the Indianapolis Pacers in 6 games in that series. I mean, they duked it out with the Boston Celtics in 6 games. They were able to sneak by them and just come up a little bit short right there. And right now, I mean, look at all the craziness still. I mean, with Dolan still being the owner of the Knicks. I mean, at the same time, I mean, you look at everything they've been able to do, I mean, with this roster that is currently constructed right now. I mean, Thibodeau, who's definitely got them playing at a high standard right now when we look at, and you look at everything going on right now with what they've been able to pull off as far as everything that has been happening right now. I mean, you got right now, I mean, Julius Randle, who's definitely playing the best ball of his career at the age of 26 right now, who's averaging 22.8 points per game, along with 11 rebounds. So pretty much averaging a double-double so far with the Knicks. But when you look on the flip side of the Chicago Bulls right now, too, the Bulls who have definitely been aggressive so far, we've been trying to see what kind of flavor we'd be seeing under Arturas and Mark Eversley right now. I mean, the guy who's been previously with the Denver Nuggets, trying to get some of this European international talent right now for that Bulls look mantra. And I got to believe right now, you know what? I'm buying in. I think the Bulls right now, I think they definitely had their moments right now. But the only thing that's been kind of hurting them lately, when we take a look at it, I mean, since the All-Star break, 5-11, which includes being 1-6 on the road. Huge problem right there. You cannot be losing on the road like that. I mean, still, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they have come off a big win just recently against the Toronto Raptors, former NBA champions, 122, 113 a couple of nights ago. And you look at it right now. I mean, the Bulls, as a matter of fact, who are currently, I think, playing right now, just fell short to the Minnesota Timberwolves by 4 points. 117 to 121 in that contest right now. And when we take a look at Nikola Vucevic right now, who's been one of the newly acquired players in a trade at the trade deadline a couple weeks ago, a lot. I mean, who is a center right now, along with two-way forward Al Farouk Amino. They dealt Otto Porto, Wendell Carter Jr., and two first-round picks, which includes this year and the 2023 pick, which are projected to be somewhere in the top four ranges right there. So they'll be without first round pick next year, but the following season, 2022, they should definitely have that. So you look at it right now, when one of the biggest things right here, I mean, you had Vukovic doing pretty solid right now. He had 18 points for the night. Zach LaVine right now finishing with 30 points here. And that's about it right now. So they fall in the target center tonight. Definitely a loss right there. They do not want to have at this point in time. But I mean, still got plenty of games left to go. I think the Bulls right now, this ceiling is definitely, I think, pretty high for this team in time. I mean, we're seeing the aggressiveness of right now of our tourists right now. And I think it's pretty good so far. I mean, the Bulls right now, who are currently, when we take a look at the playoff picture right now, they have put them 3.5 games back, pending what happens tomorrow versus the Knicks and the Lakers, which I'm going to get to in a second right now. Congratulations to shorthanded Lakers over a Brooklyn Nets team right now. That's a team right now who could be in danger of possibly falling into a play-in series, which I doubt would happen, but never say never. Right now, the Knicks are in control over the Toronto Raptors right now by 4 points with a little over 30 seconds left to go in the ball game right now. So if they win that game tonight, they'll be up on the Bulls by 4 games for the final 8th and final playoff spot. So, I mean, you're looking at a scenario right now where it could end up being that the Chicago Bulls right now, because remember, the play-in series, just a reminder for everybody this year, that is being followed up from last year's bubble format. Don't forget, the way it's going to work is that the number 7 will host the number 8 seed. So in this case, that'll be the Boston Celtics hosting the New York Knicks. Loser of that series will face the winner of the 9 and 10 seed, which in this case would be the Chicago Bulls traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Pacers. If the Bulls are able to beat the Pacers in that situation, let's say they got to face, I don't know, like the Knicks. If they beat the Knicks, they will be in the playoffs right there, do that play-in series right there. So that is going to be an interesting concept to pay attention to right now. So, yeah, I like the energy of this team. I really do feel like the Bulls right now. I mean, like I said, I like the coaching change. Still got some stuff they got to work on right now. I mean, as far as everything goes on, I would just imagine, I mean, one of the things too, I mean, I'd probably just say a little bit more defense, if anything. We'll see. But, I mean, other than that, it's a pretty solid group right now. I mean, a team that could definitely excite you in many ways right now. And I really feel like right now, I mean, just to see right now, Zach LaVine right now, I mean, what is this, his 4th season, I believe? I mean, with the Bulls right now, I mean, just like to see like what they could be able to pull out for this right now. And as we take a look at, I mean, it's Chicago Bulls right now, I think the only thing that's killing them right now has been their defense. They're 21st in the league, averaging over 113.6 points per game. That is not going to get it done right there. But however, when we take a look at on the flip side, a little bit somewhat respectable, close to the middle of the pack right now in the offense, 112.7. Now, when we take a look at it too, one of the biggest problems that they're having right there, turning over the ball a lot. They're second in the league in turnovers per game with about nearly 16 per game. That has got to stop. That's going to cost you some serious ball games right there. I mean, for the stretch run, if you ask me. And you got to make sure at the end of the day, too, right now, they are winning those close battles right there. I think if anything, that's going to definitely like show how far this team has truly come under Donovan. And what we'll be able to see right now, speaking of which, I mean, with Zach LaVine right now and his team, I mean, pretty much got in here who enters, yeah, his fourth season with the Bulls right now. I mean, having a career high in points per game at about 27 and a half, by the way. I mean, also making an all-star game this year. And we'll see how this continues to go around here. So, I think, too, right now, don't forget, too, Billy Donovan, he has shifted Laurie Markkinen and Kobe White to reserve roles, removed significant playmaking responsibility from White, and has unashamedly deployed Markkinen at small forward. There are no greater indicators of how the season's primary goal has expanded from development to doing whatever it takes to win. And what do you guys think right now? Do you guys buy into the fact that the Bulls are trying to be big winners this year right now? Like to hear from you right now. Uh, I gotta believe, yeah, I think they are trying to win big, to be honest with you. I think whenever you make something about that at the deadline, you are trying to send a very fair and obvious message right there. You guys are not going to surrender your hat that easily. But the thing is, too, you got to be more savvy here. And the problem is you have guys like Wendell Carter Jr. and some other plays like a Valentine. They have not translated into all-time success. Let's be honest. And that's where I look at right now. I mean, at the end of the day, and we'll see this where it continues to move on for right now. But yeah, I really do believe the Chicago Bulls right now for this time, they're going to be a team that's going to be reckoned with. I definitely do feel like right now it's going to get back to some winning basketball. I mean, kind of like I'll probably say it's close to the days of like Scott Skiles, to be honest with you. Maybe not so much like a Tom Thibodeau, but I do have that feeling in them where you could at least go back to him. I mean, he may have feel good runs as a coach. I mean, with the Bulls, I mean, taking them to the playoffs for back-to-back years, but then falling off the tracks. I want to say in 2007 is when they moved on from him. But still, I mean, I think when you look outside like the post Jordan, Pippen, Jackson era, I mean, he definitely did some wonders with that young roster and talent right there. They got teams who has been losing pretty much out of the gutter. If you think about it, in the annals of many fans right there. I mean, due to Jerry Krause's leftover mismanagement, I had to go for some guys, which never panned out. But here we are right now at the end of the day. And this is where we truly look at right now for how they're going to be measured up right now. The Bulls right now for this season, as we take a look at their next upcoming games coming up right now as we look at it for this season here. The next coming games after the Minnesota Timberwolves right now as we look at it, they're going to be on the road in Memphis against the Grizzlies. That'll be tomorrow night, April 12th at tip-off, 8 p.m. Then they'll be at home for about 3 straight games against the Magic, Grizzlies, and Cavs. You got the Celtics and Cavs right now coming up on the road next Monday and Wednesday. Against the Hornets Thursday of that week. And then against the Miami Heat and Saturday. And pretty much right now, definitely going to be put to the test right now. Heat is another team right now, too, that is still trying to hang on and trying to avoid having a play-in series right now. And speaking of which, they got a one-game lead over the Boston Celtics as the Miami Heat are the number 6 seed. I mean, just think about this, too. I mean, who would have thought, too, that both the Lakers and the Heat would kind of be a little bit in the predicament? Let's sweep things over to the LA Lakers right now. When you truly look at I mean, you look at the season right now, and I know LeBron James has been a little adamant about the quick turnaround as many players who were in the bubble. But in fairness to a lot of teams that weren't in the bubble, who were not eligible for the play-in series last year, that still have reasonable enough contention to try and make a playoff run. I mean, the Lakers, for the most part, when you try and look at it right now, I mean, they are currently in the fifth place seed in the West at 33-20, and they have been 5-6 officially without the services of both LeBron James and Anthony Davis right now. And more particularly, too, with Anthony Davis, since we last seen him on the horizon, basically, which was back middle of February for the Lakers here. And without Anthony Davis, since his injury, I mean, when you look at the injuries overall, I mean, they've been 16-14 without him so far. I mean, that includes, beginning of the season. But I mean, look at LeBron James, who's trying to get over a high ankle sprain that he suffered against the Suns in Phoenix about a month ago. And right now, too, I mean, the Lakers, who have been struggling miserably, like I said, they've been a game under 500. I mean, you look at this team right now, then you look at like the debut of Andre Drummond, who were able to acquire from the Cavaliers, who were able to buy out his contract, if I'm not mistaken here. If you look at the very first night, I mean, the very first game, he made his debut. I mean, when you looked at it, too, I mean, that game right there, by the way, it was a couple weeks ago. And I want to say it was against the Milwaukee Bucks right there. And a very significant toe injury due to like a bad shoe he was wearing. And boy, I mean that did not look good. And I don't know if anyone got to see that guy's toe right there when they had the shoe off, but man, I mean that was a way to start off your night right there. I mean, you look at like when he made his debut, losing by 15 points at home in the Staples Center to the Milwaukee Bucks. By the way, I mean you saw it in there. I mean with Andre Drummond, I mean his debut that night, he has made 4 points for the Lakers, and right now, I mean he just made his return last night and sent a message, a booming message, I may add, defeating the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn, and that was a huge, huge win. I don't care what anyone says right now. And I gotta believe that's gotta let up their confidence right there. They beat them down 126 to 101. And don't forget, there's a little bit of a skirmish in there too in that game. And when you take a look at it too, with Dennis Schroeder and of course Kyrie Irving right there. That Schroeder was saying that he called it the best win of the year, which Frank Vogel, I mean, no doubt would agree with that. They overcame, I mean, like I said, losses of Anthony Davis, LeBron James. Anthony Davis, according to Adrian Wojnarowski of NBA and ESPN, is going to be reevaluated by team doctors on Thursday and could possibly return in about 10 to 14 days, according to Woj and Dave McMenamin of ESPN. Davis's problems, don't forget, it started in early February when he was silent for a few games with an Achilles tendon issue that the team didn't think was too serious. It quickly reached a point, however, when Davis reactivated the injury on February 14th against the Nuggets. To honestly say that we did not see this coming, baloney. I'll be honest with you. I looked at him too playing hurt in the playoffs. He got very lucky a few times too. And there was moments where we kind of saw some early signs. I think it was a different injury, whatever. But still, when they're making that championship run, I mean, you see it quite a few times where it was against the Denver Nuggets or, yet alone, from their previous round match against the Rockets, but more so the Nuggets right there. And even like one time in the finals too. You got to look at this guy right now. And like I said, listen, I think the NBA, ultimately at the end of the day, they did the right thing to return when they did. Obviously, there's billions of revenue at stake right now, not only for, like their TV packages. I would definitely say retired players, but at the same time, too, Commissioner Adam Silver definitely feel like a lot of guys who did not play. Listen, we cannot have go too deep into the season like they did a year ago. I definitely do feel like right now a win over the Nets is a huge statement win. To at least minimal, do it with one of the guys you acquire from the Cavs and Andre Drummond. Right now, for the Lakers to avoid any play-in series right now, they are the fifth seed. The team who is the seventh seed would be the Dallas Mavericks, which, by the way, the LA Lakers, as we currently take a look at that difference right now, as we look at it, have a 3.5 game lead on the Mavericks. So definitely something to pay attention to right there. They gotta be very careful not to walk into a slippery slope here. And Dallas Mavericks, which by the way, they just fell tonight to the San Antonio Spurs tonight by 2 points. 119 to 117 is your final score, which by the way, that is a team right there too to pay attention to, who are trailing the LA Lakers in this. I mean, in the final spot for the playoff picture. Spurs, they do got a chance to qualify for play-in series. If if they had to be down to a playoff series, they'd be hosting the Golden State Warriors right now. Golden State Warriors are 3 games under 500 right now. Uh, where that series will take on the winner if the season were to end today of the Mavericks and Grizzlies. So basically, like I said, this playoff format just reminds you once again the teams who are 7 and 8 seed. Basically, you got at least two opportunities to make it into the playoffs by winning one game, one of your matchups. Basically, bottom line, period. And for the Lakers right now, who have that lead on the San Antonio Spurs, as we take a look at everything right now at 25 and 26, right now, as we look a lot more closely, they have a 7 game lead officially on the San Antonio Spurs. Lakers would have played 53 games right now, got 19 games left to go. So they would need at least a magic number of 13 games to clinch a playoff spot. But again, gotta be careful not to be a victim of that 7 AC, which anything's still possible. But at the same time, too, I got the team like the Denver Nuggets right now, who are 34 and 19, are the next team that's up on the Lakers. The Lakers are only a game out. So if they could take care of business tomorrow against the Knicks, the Knicks ain't no joke. They ain't no slouch right now. And by the way, the Denver Nuggets just lost to the Boston Celtics by 18 points right now. If you can find yourself a way, again, that series, I'm not sure what the tiebreaker will be, but they will be in tie for fourth place, if not the fourth place seed at all. That is something very something to consider right now. But I tell you what, Frank Vogel, this is one thing I definitely give him a lot of credit for since taking on the job as Lakers coach. He has definitely implemented a lot of defense with this team. As we look at it right there, you see what he's been able to bring to the table. But I got to just tell you right now, defensively, great. How about scoring a little bit more? Because honestly, when you take a look at it real logistically, they do need another star or two, in my opinion. And all around, like bench wise, it looks very unstable when you're without like significant guys right now. Right now, they're just trying to stay above water to be in that position, avoid being in that position of the 7th and 8th seed right now. And what do you guys think in the East and Western Conference right now? Brooklyn Nets. Are we starting to see a little bit of chemistry issues with Kyrie Irving and James Harden? Remember, Kyrie Irving was a guy who wasn't. A lot of people weren't sure earlier in the season this guy was going to come back or not. Doing a lot of stuff trying to raise for Black Lives Matter, social justice issues, which is great. Commend them a lot. But at the same time, too, when you sign a guy to a deal like he did, coming over to this Nets team a few summers ago, and you got a guy like Kevin Durant who's there, and you got a guy like James Harden. Last thing you want to be doing is like seeing where your head's at, if you're going to be all in or not. I got to tell you right now, if I'm looking at someone right now, possibly coach of the year candidate in the NBA, I'm probably looking at a guy too. If it's not, let's say like Tom Thibodeau or Billy Donovan, I make a solid case for Doc Rivers right now, what he's doing with that team. I mean, Doc Rivers is coming over from the Clippers. He's got that team believing right now. They're tied for first, by the way, with the Nets. They got a tie-breaking seed over the Nets so far. Bucks, who are in third place right now, they're 3 games out from the top seed. They sweep things over into the West right now. The Utah Jazz right now, we have a 2.5 game lead on the Phoenix Suns right now. CP3 definitely taking a big gamble, go over to the Phoenix. And just wonder right now, is going to be finally see the time where he earns a championship ring. Can he really pull the wool over a lot of people's eyes and really make some noise in that West? I definitely think so. CP3, as marketable as he is, I mean, on and off the court, being one of the heads of the Players Union, I mean, this guy is an unbelievable gift at the end of the day. And that guy deserves all the mad props that he does. I mean, for what he's looked out for players overall. And you couldn't be really more proud, have a better representative other than him, if you ask me. I mean, he is definitely truly like the example, looking out for players right there and still being a competitor on the court. I mean, the only time he's really gotten close to anything, to any championship success, 3 years ago, once upon a time, with James Harden and the Houston Rockets. Man, getting hurt at the wrong place, wrong time. I think it was in game 5, and then 6 and 7 was pretty much game over. He had a 20-point lead on them in the 7th game. Only to see the Golden State Warriors come back from a 20-point lead like it was 10 point. It was like a cakewalk, that comeback right there. It really was. All right, well, that's going to do it right now. But one final closing thought right now. Chicago Bulls right now, what do you guys think? Playoff team or not? Leave me your comments. You can feel free to tweet at me. Tweet me at Prodigy Richey, or leave a comment on the Facebook page if you want. You think the Bulls are a playoff team, and then you think the Lakers will be in the play-in series. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to finish up with some NFL extra points right here with me, Charles Prodigy Richey. Don't move a muscle.
Sorry, man. I was trying to knock on a door back there, but you don't have a door.
Knock it down.